pumpkin carving is a big deal in my family. Okay, some of you guys know this about me, and some of you don't know this about me. I have 5 sons, and when you have 5 children in your family, you carve a lot of pumpkins. You get good at doing lots of things because you do them over and over and over. I got good at lots of artistic kinds of things because the kids demand it of you. It's really, like, I got really good at building Pinewood Derby cars. I got really good at doing class projects. I got really good at carving pumpkins because I had to carve one for me and I had to carve one for all my children. So I've had a lot of time to reflect about what it means to do these kinds of little repetitive kinds of jobs. And I wanted to walk you through how this happens for me, because anything that you do can be a prayer, and it can be an intense prayer if you do it right. I have lots of ways to pray, and I pray during the day many times. My whole morning activity, getting ready for work, is a prayer. And I'm going to walk you through how I do this with pumpkins, but you can do it with really anything. You can do it with the way that you drive to work. You can do it with the way that you do anything that you do on a regular basis. So, pumpkins are just material, right? They're vegetables. They don't fight. They just sit there and let you do what you're going to do. And I think about that, first of all, when I do pumpkin carving, because, holy cow, I could have this really cool design on my soul if I would let God just do it. But I don't let God do it. I fight him all the time. If the pumpkin was moving around trying to stop me from doing it, I wouldn't be able to do the work. But that's the first thing, is that I think about how crazy busy I am and how I don't stop and take time to just be, I don't want to say silent, but to be at rest. Sometimes that's silent and sometimes it's not for me. But being at rest and not fighting God so that he will just be able to do his work a lot easier. I think about the way that pumpkins work, the jack-o'-lanterns work, and they're not really so much because they're a pumpkin, but because they have parts in them that are supposed to come out. And when I carve a pumpkin, every single pumpkin I've ever carved in my adult life has been, what is it in my life that I have to get rid of in order to let the light shine through? How is it, what part of this, it's usually a face you carve on a jack-o'-lantern, right? What part of my eyes do I need to train to kind of just get out of the way? I say this prayer every day about the ministry because I really think I get in God's way a lot. I think I get in my own way a lot. And I never want anything that I do in the church to be about me. I never want youth ministry to be about me. I don't ever want this new job I have, to be about me. I want it to be about the Lord. And my daily prayer every single day is, Lord, help me get out of the way. And sometimes he's very clear about showing me what needs to get out of the way. And sometimes he's a little more subtle. But that's kind of what carving pumpkins is really all about. It's about getting the stuff out of the way. It's about opening up and getting all the crap that's inside of it out, first of all, so that you can do the rest of the work. It's about being at rest so that you can allow God to do the work that he needs to do in you. And then it's about identifying what parts of your life need to get removed. Because there's certain parts of all of our lives that we need to just get rid of. We need to take time and discern. It was the only word I can think of. It's discern what needs to happen and how it needs to happen so that we can allow the light of Christ to shine through us, because that's what the idea behind a jack-o'-lantern is. It's not to hide light. It's to allow light to do its work. Scripture says in John, the first chapter of the Gospel of John, that the light has come to the earth and darkness cannot overtake it. That's the reality of light. If you could get far enough away from a candle, and it could be dark enough in your surroundings. A candle, just candlelight, a single candle can be seen from a mile away. Can you believe that? Because the darkness cannot overtake the light, but it sure can be blocked. The light can be blocked. And then the darkness, the light becomes more shadow than it does become light. So as I carve pumpkins, every single year we do this, and every single year as I do it, the kids would usually go to bed when they were younger, and I would stay up and finish them, and I would think about, okay, Lord, just show me what I need to get rid of. And then give me the courage to be willing to saw it out of myself. And then give me the grace to be able to go to reconciliation about it. And help me to know that everything that comes out is what your plan is for me. Because God has a plan for us. He has a plan for everybody. Sometimes He's clear about it, and sometimes He's not. But the reality of the clarity is that we have to learn to trust. Just like the pumpkin has to learn to trust what's going on with it, we have to learn to trust what's going on with us. And sometimes it's clear. Sometimes it's so clear it's frightening. Sometimes it's so clear that we want to run away from the fact that God wants us to do it. And sometimes it's so clear that we want to not do it. But if we just ask God for the courage to let His light radiate, He will not disappoint you in His answer. He will let His light radiate in you. I was just talking to the parents this evening, and we were talking about how God is love. God is not a God who loves. God is love itself. He is the essence of what love is. So He will always do what's best for His beloved. And guess who that is? That's you. You are His beloved. And it's easy to hear someone say that. It's another thing to live that way. Do you live your life like you're God's beloved? Or do you live your life like you're your beloved? If you find that there are areas in your life where you're living like you are your beloved, some of those things need to get carved out. That's just the reality of it. And yeah, it might be painful, and yeah, it might be painstaking, and it might take time, because nothing ever happens quickly. You don't build the habits in your life that you have that are bad habits quickly. You usually build them little by little. And you don't build good habits in your life quickly. You build them little by little. That's the nature of how this works. That's the nature of the spiritual life. And that's what I think about every single time I carve a pumpkin. I'm like, yeah, I know that there's this little dark spot right here that I need to get rid of, but I don't want to get rid of it. Help me to be docile. Like, docile is vegetable. This is actually a fruit, but as docile as possible, so that I can allow you to do the work you need to do. And I talk to God just like that. That is the way I pray. I know that He loves me unconditionally, and I know that He will always, always answer my prayer if my prayer is within His will. And that's the trick, isn't it? To be so conformed to God's will that you know that your prayer is going to be answered. Because He will do everything that's in His will. So my challenge to you guys is, as you do this activity, to not just carve this one this year, carve another one. And use this technique to pray. Carve 10 of them this year if you need to figure out what it is in your life that needs to be removed so that the light of Christ can shine through you. because we all have that. We have stuff that needs to be removed, every single one of us. Because that's the reality of humanity. It's the nature of sin. It's the nature of our fallenness. But here's the thing I want to have you think about. I was watching last night, I don't sleep much, and last night I was watching Creed because it was on TV. And I've seen Creed a couple of times. I've seen all the movies like 30 times. I could quote them. And it occurs to me when I watch these movies that it's not about how much punishment that the main character, whether it's Creed or Rocky, or it's not about the punishment they take. It's not about how good they can take a punch. It's about how quickly they can get up, and then how quickly they can heal for the next fight. Because there's always more than one fight in these movies. A couple of weeks ago, I almost cut the tip of my thumb off cutting sweet potatoes for a family dinner. And I'm a really good healer. I heal really fast. And it's this thumb. You can barely even see it anymore that that I cut myself. And watching Creed made me think about how this young man had to heal from so much because his dad was Apollo Creed. He had to heal from so much before he even was able to be a contending fighter. I mean, he was terrible. He got knocked out the first official. He lost his. If you've ever seen the movie, he bet this guy his Mustang that he had that he would win, and he got beat badly. So he lost his Mustang. He had to cut a lot of stuff out of his life in order to become a good fighter. And he became a good fighter not because he had it in him because he was Apollo Creed's son, but because he was willing to cut some stuff out of his life. And that was just in my mind as I was thinking about how I do this prayer. I challenge you to do more than one pumpkin and use this as a prayer so that you can let the light of Christ shine through you. So keep carving. We have pizza coming, and we'll put the music back on. But I just wanted to share that little reflection with you guys. So I love you.
Thanks, Richard.
Oh, lift it up. Oh, I don't want to lift it because I don't want to make the... Okay. You want...
Ooh, wow, that's cool.
Can you guys see it?